Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Get set up here, excuse me. Pardon me, my knee's a little stiff from years of having the genuflect when I so many people here today, so many local people kicking off the St. Patrick's Day Parade festivities, or as I like to call it, the Let's Make Eddie Ecker Great Again weekend. We got our work cut out for us. I know that we're here to honor the Grand Marshal, and I will get to that in a moment, but first I have a story to tell you. My husband, Pius, and I own a house here in Montauk on LL Street, and it's an older house. We love it. It's a great house. I'm a little embarrassed to admit this. We have a pest problem. And it's gotten so bad in the last few years that we finally decided that we would call Nardi and we would have them come out and take care of the problem. So what happens is you call them, they come out, they put in these devices that measure activity and, you know, bad spots and stuff like that. And then they get back to you and they give you suggestions for what you have to do, and they also tell you what services they offer. So they sent us a letter, and I just happened to stop at the post office this morning on the way here. I just want to share the letter with you, if you don't mind. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan, this letter is in regards to our March 5th visit and evaluation of your property. We have the following 4 suggestions for you to help eliminate what we see as the most invasive and difficult pest infestation we have ever encountered. Number 1, do not, under any circumstances, answer your phone with Eddie Ecker is calling, particularly after 7 o'clock in the evening. Get rid of your love seat, because that seems to be a big problem area. Please remove all bottles of Dewar's, any Irish whiskey. In fact, I think all whiskeys from your premises. Destroy all ice cubes and rocks glasses. And please do not pour any of this whiskey down the sink because the scent remains. Lastly, we also suggest that you immediately begin construction on a moat around the entire property. Make it at least 8 feet wide and stock it with the meanest crocodiles. Please make sure that said crocodiles are not friends of Eddie Ecker. And you may be surprised to find out how many actually are. Our condolences, Nardi Pest Control. Shared information can spare even one of you the torments that we live with on a daily basis, then I think it was well worth it. But back to other matters. My name is Catherine, and as you probably have already figured out, I am the bartender, caterer, and concierge at Eddie Ecker's favorite after-hours club, otherwise known as my living room. Part of my no pay, no vacation, no benefits job is to come here today and to try and make Eddie look good. I know you're all thinking about your own jobs and going, wow, did I look out? When we talk about Eddie, we have to talk about our mother. It's just that simple, you know. And Mom, you don't mind if I tell people that Eddie's your son, do you? There might be a couple people who haven't driven by and seen the shrine, the sky riding that will be coming. It's not a secret that Eddie was our mom's favorite. And it's nothing that she never came right out and said it, but there were just kind of, there's some compelling evidence, let's put it that way, through the years. One day, when we were children, I went into the kitchen and my mother was working in there, and I said, Mom, Eddie won't let us watch the TV. He said it's only for him. And so my mother, you know, she was a great mom. She came over and she said, honey, Eddie's an only child. So I would appreciate it if you would be more patient with Eddie. all the kids would go upstairs to go to bed, and you'd hear my mom say, Eddie, what time would you like the staff downstairs in the morning? And he'd say, you tell those girls to get up early. I want a really good breakfast. And he'd say, you know, tell Cheryl my bathwater was too cold. Now, any of you who grew up with us, you remember this picture that hung over our fireplace. This is what he looked like. This is what we were like. You know what? Serial killers are adorable and charming. We were always told these were his first words as a baby. Hey man, how about a nightcap? You know, the day after Eddie had come over, he told all of us about being selected, and then the next day I went over to see my mother, and I said, Mom, isn't it great about Eddie being the Grand Marshal? My mother said, well, I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it. Because, you know, there's a lot of drinking and craziness that goes on that weekend. And I was like, really, Mom? No kidding. I mean, I don't know, but I think Eddie will probably be okay. He might have to tone it down a bit. What we predicted is that by Monday, half of the friends of Erin are going to resign. And it's time to get into the witness protection. I'll tell you a story. The first time that Pius came over to meet my family was in 2003. And so we were here for 3 weeks, and Eddie and Pius spent a lot of time together during those 3 weeks. And on the way back, you know, we're on the plane, and I'm like, so, you know, what are your impressions of America? And he said, ah, Jesus Christ. We think we can effing drink in Ireland. We're only kidding ourselves. And that is a true story. Of course, you know, so many of us are thrilled that Eddie was picked. Certainly everybody in this room is thrilled. But I think we have to be honest and acknowledge that there is a segment of the population that is not happy about the selection of Eddie being picked. So much so that I understand there's going to be a protest on Sunday morning before the parade. And I think, as anybody knows, you can't really be taken seriously as a protester without the correct hat. No. Knock this one over. You can't see the back, but it's got a little pom-pom that looks like a cheeseburger. And it's got a chin strap made out of bacon. So I think that they kind of got your essence there. And just to be fair, we want to make sure that anybody who wants to know more about the protest, that's this Sunday. Next week they're going to have one called The Day Without Doers. But you can go to www.whyamawaistingmytime.org/go home Eddie Ecker. Many family members were very sad when Eddie decided to retire from the police department. Well, not many, some. Probably only me. And this does not mean that we do not love Eddie's successor, Chief Sarlo. I like Mike. It's just that things have changed for us. You know, we used to go down the street and you'd see all these bumper stickers. I know Eddie Ecker, and it was so great. It was really fun. And now you drive around Montauk, and all you see are these lawn signs that say Eddie Ecker. Everybody ever sees it. It's really demoralizing. I headquarters in East Hampton, and it was so great. The building is so amazing. You get there, they could buzz you in, and you just feel the magnitude of the job that's being done there. And now we visit Eddie at his part-time job. And it's just not the same. You go in there, the manager is like, Eddie, how are those shamrock shakes coming? It doesn't have the same, it doesn't have the same thing. And then, my mother used to make blueberry muffins and bring them down to the precinct in Montauk. And, she'd come in and say, I'm Eddie Ecker's mother, And the cops used to love it. So, she hadn't done that in a while, and I said to her the other day, why don't you do that again, Mom? So she bakes up the muffins, she goes down to the precinct, and she walks in, and she's like, hi, and, no one even talks to her. And she says to one of the cops, would you like a blueberry muffin? And he said, we're really kind of full because Mrs. Sarlo was here. She made us a big the last one. It hurts, all right? It hurts. I'm very happy to say, though, that Eddie has kept very busy since his retirement. He drives the ambulance for the Montauk Fire Department. We're very proud of that. And I think it's probably the only ambulance where the patient gets to be the patient and the designated driver. Because it relaxes the patient. They have to focus on the road and not on their emergency. He also spends a great deal of time at the Shea House with his grandchildren. And, I'm not sure if this is the place I should bring this up, but I stopped over there last week and Eddie was there with the kids. I come in and Ronan is drinking a martini out of a sip. And Maggie is doing the alphabet, and she's like, D is for doers, H is for happy hour, S is for shag one-on-one. I'm just saying, Carrie and Dennis, I have a plan for you. Dennis, bring the kids to work with you, put them in the back of the patrol car with the suspects, they'll get some better role models. Seriously though, our family is so thankful to the Friends of Erin for selecting Eddie. We really are so proud of him. And I think the only thing that makes us happier is the fact that you keep Joe Blocker busy for a few minutes. Girl, I didn't write that. That's your handwriting. Quite honestly, we feel this is not just a tribute to Eddie. We feel this is also a tribute to his beautiful wife, Melania. Roxanne. You know what? I always get those two women mixed up because they have a similar background. To realize that Roxanne is an immigrant. She escaped from a country called the West Coast. And the way I always heard it was that she escaped here. She was lured by the promise of good quality Pinot Grigio. And I think after 40 years of being married to Eddie, she certainly deserves to be honored, and she probably deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. So I have some exciting news. We wanted to come up with a souvenir for the weekend, and what we did is we designed this commemorative glass. The Eddie Ecker whiskey glass. Now this is not the actual size. It's the one he uses at home, and that is about 6 times bigger. It can also be used as a kiddie pool, and this is available at the Eddie Ecker gift shop. We have some of our old favorites. We have the nightcap Edmo doll. And the old screen that says, come on, Rox, just one more. And we have the Great Things About Me, written by Eddie himself. But this is like the best thing ever, and I'm really, really, really proud of this. This is the way you get in on all the goodwill that Eddie is the recipient of. You know, you're driving down the street and you're going a little fast and you see the patrol car coming up and you just go, boop. Local banks using this mask, and I had no problem. I went into B&B and I handed them the note and they were like, oh, hi Eddie, how you doing? Oh, great. So they go into Jill, and Jill's like, oh, Eddie? Oh, no, I'm sure he doesn't mean any harm. Just put the money in the bag. It's fine. I think we're on the winner with this one. I gotta tell you. Cheryl and I wear this over at my mother's house. She makes her lunch.
Can you raffle it off?
Oh, it's going to sell out fast, folks. And now to say what I really do. Those of us who grew up out here, and the many people who decided to call Montauk their home, we all know the secret. And the secret is that the real beauty of Montauk is not the beaches and everything around us, it's the people. It's all of the big-hearted, wonderful, contributing people and the abundance of characters that we have. And I don't think that anybody embodies that more than you, Eddie. If this is, you know, you're just that person, like, if you're having a crisis or you're celebrating something, Eddie is the guy you want along with you. And he has the most pure heart, he doesn't judge anyone, and he's just a great guy, and he deserves to be loved by everybody. I'm sure that Mom has given you a few bits of advice for the weekend. Stay away from those friends of Erin, Eddie. And we're so happy that she's here to be able to share. That made me start to think about what the big Ed, the big man, the Ed who started it all, might have to say. And I just imagine him loving every second of this and saying, now listen, we're going to settle down, we're going to have a great time this weekend, and make sure Mother doesn't hear all about it. Eddie, we don't need a weekend, we don't need a parade, we don't need anything to remind us that you are great. You've always been great. And Eddie Ecker, you're still great.
Great job, Kathy.
Thank you very much.